Hello and welcome to a special Nasdaq interview in honor of Black History Month. I'm your host, Christine Lee, and joining us today is R.A. Session II, President, Founder, and CEO of Taysha Gene Therapies. Thank you so much for joining us today, R.A.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
As you know, we are honoring Black History Month here at Nasdaq by amplifying the voices of our listed companies and partners that are working towards advocating towards Black health and wealth. Now, you founded Taysha Gene Therapies in 2019. Can you tell us what inspired you to start Taysha Gene Therapies and what is the mission of your company?
The mission of the company is quite simple. It's really to eradicate monogenic CNS disease, particularly for pediatric patients. And we wanted to be somewhat audacious with the words that we used. And the word eradicate, it's a tough word. And it's because we're going after tough diseases. And for us, that's really the ultimate goal, is to help patients live longer, happier lives. Ultimately, what inspired me to start the company was really this whole notion of the curative nature of what gene therapy could be and the promise that it holds.
The theme for this year's Black History Month focuses on the importance of Black health and wellness. As a biotech company, how is Taysha Gene Therapies working to advance Black health and wellness within the communities that you serve?
Yeah, I just think it's important to think about these things globally. You should be developing drugs and doing your clinical trials to serve the patients, basically to serve all patients, right? And no patient is essentially excluded, right? And so for us, what's most important is that we have the right representation in our clinical studies, the right voices within the room when we're talking about burden of illness and burden of disease with patients. And essentially, these illnesses don't look at ethnicity. In some cases, that you do have founder effect, but in a lot of cases, these are pan-genetic mutations or de novo mutations that affect everybody equally.
Now, Taysha is a word in the Caddo Native American language meaning ally or friend. How have having allies in your own life helped to amplify your voice?
Yeah, I've been fortunate, to be quite honest, to have a number of mentors over my career, and at different stages of my career, I was fortunate to have the right mentor. I'm sure there were meetings that I was in that I learned a great deal from that I had no business being in. There were analysis that I was doing that I never did before, but certainly someone saw something in me that maybe I hadn't even seen in myself. And what I would say most importantly, it's just being able to have the opportunity to show what you can do. And I've been fortunate to be in a position that have had that opportunity at multiple stages in my career. There's so many mentors that I've had and have been fortunate to have that have shaped ultimately my career and where I've been able to accomplish. You don't get anywhere by yourself.
So true. I love that you don't get anywhere by yourself. It's so important to have that support system, not only within your career, but in your personal life as well.
Absolutely.
And how is Taysha Gene Therapies committed to ensuring diversity and inclusivity within your organization and industry?
Essentially, you hire the best people for the job. Diversity is not a hard thing. And I've said this before. I was fortunate to have one of my mentors, Chip Baird, who's the former CFO at Bluebird, who's now at 2seventy Bio, invited me to come in to talk to Bluebird about diversity. And when you look at our management team, our management team is about 40% women. There's a great deal of ethnic diversity. When you look at the CEO is African-American. And what I did was go and hire the best people for the job that I knew within my network. And that looked like America, to be quite honest. I got a broad representation of ethnic diversity, genders, anything that you could probably hope to get, you get in our management team. And so for me, I think it's about expanding your network ultimately to be more inclusive. It starts there.
Lastly, RA, can you please share with us why you feel it's important to promote diversity at all levels of the workforce? And what can organizations like Nasdaq do to promote diversity at all levels?
Speaking specifically about the biotech sector, every company needs to look like the patients they serve. We serve patients globally. And so companies should reflect that. Clinical trials should reflect that. There should not be a two-tiered healthcare system. There shouldn't be access for one people and not access for another. And so ultimately, it's on companies like Taysha to make sure that, again, our companies look like the patients that we serve, but our clinical trials and access to, innovative medicines are distributed equitably.
RA, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your views and experience as part of our Black History Month campaign. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Nasdaq followers, that was RA Session II, President, Founder, and CEO of Taysha Gene Therapies. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, we are signing off.